what is going on here? I took it out of the trash can and now we're putting it on my car. So that's cool. Alright guys, what's going on? So we're starting off the video a little bit later at night. It's actually a lot cooler out. It was like in the 80s today, so it's a lot cooler to do stuff at night. So I figured it'd be a good time to do it. We're gonna be working on the Foxbody today and fixing one of the actual issues with the car. I guess one of the last issues we're getting into. The heater still does not work and we still do not have air conditioning. So we're gonna be working on both of those today, as well as getting a new alternator and charging system in this thing to hopefully boost up the charging voltage as I'm driving it. Because with the stereo and a bunch of the other stuff, and once I get the AC working and that whole clutch mechanism, it's gonna be a lot of electronical load on that engine. So I wanna make sure I have enough amperage to keep the thing running smoothly. So let's get right into it. If you guys didn't know, this actually is my daily driver. I drive this every single day, almost an hour to school. It's very filthy. It's actually disgusting how dirty it is right now. You can actually see the dust on it pretty much all over. So I'm probably gonna drive this thing to the car wash real quick to go ahead and get everything warmed up, because I'm gonna go ahead and change the oil too. And then we can go ahead, I'll change the oil last. Oh, don't mind all this stuff. This is all for the F100. If you haven't seen this video, I'll put a card up. Definitely go check that video out. But before we get into today's video, I just wanted to say, please consider leaving a like. It would really mean a lot to me. It helps me a bunch on YouTube's algorithm in the first 24 hours or so. The more likes you get, the more people see the videos that I post. So if you want to help the channel grow, it really would mean a lot to me if you guys just drop a like on the video. But with that being said, we're gonna go ahead and open up some of the stuff we got. Let's get into this. All right, so this is just stuff I got from LMR. If I can figure out how to open it. All that bag for this. Oh, I got my intake bolt screws. There's a little plaque thing that goes on top of the intake manifold. It says like 50HO on it. I've never been able to put it on. My buddy Chris Goodner gave it to me, and I haven't been able to put it on because I don't have the plaque screws. I ordered the screws because LMR sells everything for these cars. Oh, almost had a mini heart attack there. That's what I needed. So this little guy. All right, so this little guy is an airflow restrictor. So basically what this thing does is it goes in between the radiator hose and the heater core, and it actually allows to slow down some of the flow, because if you actually are spinning this thing to like 6,000 RPM and you got a bunch of hot fluid, you'll actually build up too much pressure in the heater core and it'll explode and get coolant all over your inside of your car, which is not what we want. So very important. On top of that, alternator. At least that's what this should be. This thing is freaking expensive, but it's one of those things that like every Foxbody needs is an alternator upgrade. These come stock with I think a 70 amp alternator. This is a 200 amp, so big upgrade. Comes with a harness. Normally I would be one of those guys that would tell you just go to a junkyard and do the typical junkyard swap from a, I don't know, maybe a newer Mustang or whatnot, and just wire it up yourself. But one thing I've learned, this thing's too damn heavy to take out of the box normally. But one thing I've learned over time is I value my time, my own time, more than anything. And basically however long something takes me to install is more important than how much it actually costs. So sometimes, a lot more lately, I've been outweighing cost rather than time, because I need to get stuff done more efficiently than trying to make it a few bucks cheaper and take forever. But this is our new unit, so you can see it's pretty much ready to go. It is, if I remember right, the same style housing as the old one. So it should just basically plug and play. Our pulley looks like it's a little bit too big. We might have to change that because I have an underdrive kit. So I think it's the only thing I'm gonna have to change is pull that guy off. It comes with all the necessary crimps, plugs, instructions, everything, and the main harness that goes to the battery. So this will all be pretty dang easy. So I'm gonna go ahead and put it together. Oh, my exposure was way too high the entire time, damn it. All right. Still looks actually pretty clean for being daily driven, like literally every day. But basically, what we're gonna go ahead and do is swap out our existing alternator. Should be a pretty easy process. Hoping I don't have to take the upper rad hose off. I should not. But yeah, I can see this hose is, or this pulley is much smaller, so we're definitely gonna have to change that out. So yeah. All right, so first thing we're gonna do, if I don't block my light, is take our belt off. Try not to scratch this radiator. It's incredibly expensive. And I'm not gonna remember how that goes back on. Nice. Basically everything for the alternator. I'm gonna try to leave the bracket, pull off this guy, there's another one down there, and then unplug it, and it should basically just lift right off. And then I think I have to grind out a little bit to fit the bigger alternator, so it shouldn't be terribly hard. I also gotta make sure I take a picture of this harness because somebody has been in there and it looks horrible, so I gotta make sure that's all good. Even though we're gonna rewire it anyways, I wanna make sure I know what I'm getting myself into. All right, well, I'd say it's probably a pretty good thing that we're doing this, because when I pulled this thing off, I don't know if you guys can see it, but this thing is absolutely scorched. It's literally melted all the way through. And then on top of that, this harness is super cut up. someone spliced into this thing twice. I repaired it here with heat shrink. But yeah, somebody's spliced this twice, and this connector is absolutely melted completely. So that's junk. This is our main connector. Bunch of electrical tape. That's always means a good. And I could feel a bunch of butt connectors right here. Yeah, oh wow! What freaking flip flop is going on here? Alright, that was easy. That was actually really easy. Well, we were doing pretty good. We're getting to the last part where all I got to do is put that wire on, and I broke the starting solenoid in half. I don't know how. I didn't think it was that old. Apparently it is. So that's broken in 2 pieces right down the center. That's literally amazing. Every single time. Last time with the town car, it was the broken caliper bolt. Now this time I'm literally on the last bolt, and I break the starting solenoid in half. So now I'm gonna go take the town car and go grab another one of those, and then we'll be done with this install at least. So, yeah. For some reason. It's kind of like hit or miss with this car. Depends on the weather, depends on like everything. It definitely runs better though. Ooh, I'm actually gonna make it. Alright, so I've been working on cars for like 6 years and I have never seen anything like that. I have never actually broken a starting solenoid in half. That's something that's new to me. Don't know why that happened. It wasn't really torqued that much. That tells me it got hot and cold so many times and the plastic got brittle. But we do have a new one, so I'm gonna go ahead and slap that thing on. The other thing I noticed, I don't think I pointed this out, so someone has already done a 3G alternator conversion on this car. So like I said, you would have to normally notch the mount out, which you can actually kind of see in the back. See, it's already, well, can't show you anymore, but just take my word for it, down by this bolt, down in here. Where that little nut is down there, the bracket's already notched out for it. So you have to kind of trim and shave a little bit to get it to fit. But this is 130 amp, and basically what I think happened, as you can see, this has a small little pulley on it. This pulley, I think with the increase in voltage and whatnot, and this horrid wiring that was going on with this thing, these were the connectors that were holding everything together. So you can see we have a bunch of different butt connections that weren't very good. I repaired this one right here, but I didn't even see this. And I basically, spinning this alternator too fast at 6,000 RPM, pushed too much voltage in, melted the connector. And this is how I was driving it. So this is probably, the connections alone are probably what was wrong with it. I bet you the alternator's fine if I just put a bigger pulley back on it. Spin it a little slower, it'll probably be all right. But yeah, this thing's probably still good. I don't see why not. But this is a 130 amp Motorcraft unit. We're gonna swap it out. Bigger pulley, as you can see. So we're gonna turn it slower. We have a 200 amp alternator in there, so hopefully it should all keep up. And the wiring on the back's all new. Got that thing all installed, and we have all of our stuff routed, going all the way to the other side. Running our power wire up top here. It's nice and clean. You can barely see it. Comes over, and we have our little inline fuse right here. And then I'll go to the starting solenoid, but I broke it. It'll all go to the starting solenoid, but in the last bolt, of course, like everything, I broke it. So swap that out real quick, and we'll be done. Alright, well, I went ahead and drove it. Seems like it does alright. Good enough for my own liking, at least, for now. You gotta keep in mind things, it's my daily, so I'm not really focused on how much power it makes. It just needs to drive good and run good. And you guys noticed when I fired this thing up, initially it idled perfectly, which is awesome. So what I'm gonna do now is pull the stock quote-unquote cold air. It's more of a hot air with an actual cold air. So what I got here is actually stuff that I found at a pick your part pretty much in the trash can. So this will basically go on like so. I have another coupler that'll join these two together, and I will loosen this hose clamp, pivot this guy down, and join these two together and push this guy inside the fender. Now that will actually allow us to have a real cold air and not this hot air junk that I'm dealing with now. So in theory, this piece that I have here, oh, I see, it literally bolts there. Wow, I did not realize there's threaded pieces in here for this. So this guy will bolt up like so. And yeah, this is the special out of a Junkyard trash can. So for those of you guys that don't say you need a lot of money to do stuff in your car, be surprised what you could find in the Junkyard. This was in literally the trash can. I was talking to one of the guys at the gate, and he coincidentally owned a Foxbody, and he was like, there's a cold air for one sitting in that trash can right there. And I was like, really? Well, howdy darn dang. And I took it out of the trash can and now we're putting it on my car. So like I said, I quite literally got this thing out of the dumpster. So it's covered in rust. It's been sitting on a car for, God, I don't even know how long. This is supposed to be the same blue as the color that's on the car, or the actual cold air that I have. And it's not. So This is not necessarily something I would recommend putting on a show car, but my car is not that. It is a driver. I beat the crap out of it. I don't put it in a garage, and I wash it sometimes when I feel like it, or it looks so bad that I feel forced to. So that being said, this is a perfect thing to put on my car to make me feel like I did something to it that's a little bit better. So what I'm doing right now is taking a piece of steel wool, and what that does is it'll take off any sort of oxidation or corrosion on this piece. And I think this is the back, so I don't really care too much about the back, but it'll take off all surface rust pretty much instantly with not really a lot of work, which is pretty good. And I think the one thing I might do in the future on this entire thing, once I get it all fit and fitted, is I get a new one of these if I can find it, and then I will take this to my Scotch-Brite wheel on my angle grinder, or not my angle grinder, my bench grinder, and give it a full brushed finish since the chrome is kind of pitted, and I'm not a chrome guy if you can imagine that. I don't really like chrome, so I don't really like the shiny. I can get rid of the shiny and give it like a satin finish. I think that would look a little bit better. But I'll go ahead and I'll try to clean this piece up as best I could. Pop that guy back in there. We'll throw it on the car. It'll look pretty good. All right, well, that was one of those moments where basically I had everything ready to put together, and I realized I was missing a coupler. I did not have this coupler right here, which is a 3.5 inch that goes to our elbow. So now I can actually connect all of these pieces together. So now I have this coupler. And of course, the time that I realized that, I went to O'Reilly's at 9 o'clock, 9:15, and they were closed. So that's cool, but I have it now. We're gonna put it on. Nice, that looks really good. That looks way better. Dropped a tiny little Allen key on top of the intake and I can't find it. Oh, it's gone. Nope. Oh, I got it. Yes. So one of the things this car's missed, actually, since I've owned it, is the actual placard that on the intake, the 50HO one. There's a bunch of different ones, but this is just the one that belongs on this car. But yeah, it really kind of bugged me, and one of my buddies, Chris Goodner, I know you might be watching this, if not, he reached out and sent this thing to me, and I finally get to put it on, so thank you, Chris. I appreciate it. It's one of the things this car has missed for a long time, and it's bugged the heck out of me. So now it has all the right pieces. Now it actually looks proper. So there we go. All right. Sweet. So that makes me feel a little bit better about myself. Probably going to take it to a Cars and Coffee tomorrow. But yeah, that 200 amp alternator, I think it's worth it. It is a lot of money. But 130 amp is, if you're looking for more of a budget friendly thing, go to a junkyard, find any mid 90s Ford, find a 130 amp unit and swap it in. It's really easy, it's very cheap now. That's what was in this. It was fine, but this one having a stereo and a bunch of other accessories that are going to go into this car, including the heavy duty fan, I wanted the bigger alternator. So yeah, worked out really well. So I'm super stoked with the car. It's coming out pretty good. The next thing I think I'm going to do is one of the things you guys have been commenting on is the front fascia, the whole area on the front of this car. Probably going to change the header panel, the headlights, and repaint the front bumper. So stay tuned for that. Like the video if you did enjoy it. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. Go grab your merch at 909speedcompany.com, and I'll see you guys next video. Bye, guys.